Hello, my name is Dean Ramsden, and I am a therapeutic energy healer. One of the fundamental aspects of my style of energy work is working from the principle that first we must build up resources in our physical and our energetic body and in our lives, and then learn to use and maximize these discovered or developed resources. Think of the healing journey each of us takes as a simple mythological story where we begin with very little knowledge or practical experience, often with very little in the way of financial resources, unless you come from an affluent family. And from humble beginnings, we go on a journey of discovery and growth-inducing successes and failures. On the journey of our life, we often find ourselves in two seemingly opposing situations. The first is where we have built up resources, such as professional work that allows us the income to evolve ourselves in the search for deeper meaning in our lives, or that our curiosity has become a hunger for expanding upon our personal horizons. Here we may have financial resources and the time and energy to actively develop ourselves and to grow into our full potential. This is the resource of having enough to invest in the self and to build the energy body into a powerful and personal expression of our soul journey through life. But the second and seemingly opposite situation is where we apparently don't have the necessary resources, the comfortable situation in which we can grow and evolve ourselves. We identify with mostly our survival, and we may feel defeated by a lack of financial and other resources in our lives. But while the first option of having abundant resources seems to be ideal, I have found that this second situation can stimulate personal development and the healing process just as effectively, albeit different path towards the same goal. When we don't have enough money, or we have limited time to spend on our healing journey, on our personal evolution, we can shift to a mode where we slowly, over time, build inner and outer resources. There is so much available that supports our personal growth, but without having to spend our valuable money or invest our time that may best be used to generate income or to be used for self-care. The right use of resource is to take what we have and reinvest it, drill down into it, so as to extract as much value from the process as possible. For instance, with my clients, I send them, after each session, a transcript of that session, and I highlight what has happened and note the goals of our work together. These resources point the way towards this second process to stimulate growth by repetition and by actively engaging in the search for self-knowledge and for making sense of the world in which we find ourselves. I call this second process hunkering down and drilling down into what is here, what is available, in contrast to moving forward towards what we don't have in our lives. This means if you can't afford a healing or therapeutic session, you can use this second process of hunkering down with what you have and drilling deeply into it so as to extract the resources you need. This, of course, flies in the face of our commercial mindset that we always need to purchase more, accumulate more, and that the goal lies in the future. This second option is to realize that the resources I have can be re-exported and revitalized again and again to extract the resources I or we need from very little material. We often hear about the world being a hologram, or that within each seed is the universe, and making the best of each small aspect of our resource can generate enormous positive results. This is perhaps seen also in the ancient concepts of alchemy, where alchemy symbolically takes a base and common metal such as lead and transforms it into something far more valuable, into gold. This is the alchemical process of taking what little resource we have and processing it, elevating its value, and in effect bypassing the commercial mindset that more is better. More can be better when you're in an expansionist phase of your life, but if you don't have excess resource, hunker down with what you have and drill deeply into it. Repeat and absorb deeply into that with which you already have. So for instance, if you can only afford one healing session, either with myself or one of the many wonderful healers and therapists out in the world, find a way to capture that one session and learn to mine it for all it has. I provide a transcript and other resources for a client to use again and again. which is the intention that this second process has. But if your healer does not offer a similar service, don't let even this lack of resource restrict you. Create the resource for yourself. Take note after each session with your healer and draw up a study plan for yourself. If you are working with the healing of childhood events in your life, you can study the healing process that humans go through. You can hunker down into existing knowledge drawn from books and podcasts and use your minimal resources to activate the growth process in your life. We restrict ourselves. The world does not necessarily restrict us in its fundamental reality. I find myself personally always in a cycle of either accumulation and adding to resource, or I actively seek to hunker down into my existing resources and mine them for valuable and missing resources. I consciously take my focus from accumulation into deepening and finding contact with what is asking me to descend deeper into contact with the here and now. So for instance, I may stop buying many books and choose one book to dive deeply into. So on a practical note, if you can't afford more than one healing session, find ways to develop this second option of supporting your healing process and personal development. Find one book or one teacher and study it deeply, listen deeply, read deeply. Chew it, digest it all symbolically so that you can extract as much nutrition from this apparently limited resource. And know in your heart that one day your outer resources will change and shift into a positive flow, into abundance, a new job, some extra money, all of which will allow you to return once again to building up resources in your life. But the lack of resources don't restrict you in your healing process, only your attitude and actions towards what is available to you. These are the defining factors in your life, in all of our lives. The loving universe wants you to heal and grow, with or without money. Don't let outer circumstances define you. Define yourself with what is here and what is available now. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.